What them haters talking about?
Yeah. Order and protection.
What's up, family? There's a country in the Middle East where 10% of the population is denied equality, where black men can't hold certain government positions, where black women are tried for witchcraft and executed, where custody of children is granted to the parent with the racially superior bloodline. This country is so powerful that it controls American policy in the Middle East. This, even as its princes and princesses bring their slaves to the United States and the United Kingdom back and forth with impunity. America does nothing about it. The United Kingdom does nothing about it, and they know what's going on. This country is Saudi Arabia. Now, this video that I'm going to show you guys, it's an old video. It's from the 60s. But it speaks volume as to what has been going on in this world that we live in as little as 50 years ago. Now, this video is going to be part of a series of videos that I'm going to cover about slavery. And I'm going to bring you guys all the way up to date. But I wanted to show this one first because this one starts with the kids. I'm going to run the clip. Y'all leave your comments and I'll come back with mine.
Kuwait, with a population of scarcely 300,000, takes in close to $3 million a day in oil royalties. Not that these millions are allowed to trickle down, but to raise the standard of living of the people, of the Fellahin or the Bedouins. Instead, oil has brought in its wake a new biblical curse. It has raised the price of human flesh. Storage tanks and pipelines add a new and modern decorative touch to the vast emptiness of the desert. But they provide no sustenance for the people who live nearby, in hunger and misery and desperation. Water is precious, and the camel is precious. And to give the camel a rest now and then, water is drawn by slaves. These girls, 10 to 12 years old, are blindfolded to keep from getting dizzy as they take turns with the camel. The most modern equipment available is used to extract oil from thousands of feet below the surface of the earth. But water must be drawn by the effort of human slaves. For luckier children, there are model schools inside the palaces. The pupils pray before lessons begin. We are permitted to film the pupils as they come out of the royal school. More than 100, we are told, are children of the sovereign himself. Following them are the children of the princes and high dignitaries. They're clean, well-disciplined, happy children. But note that some of them do not carry books. These are children of the oil rich. Their books are carried by their personal slaves. Slaves received as gifts from their parents on their birthdays. Slaves who will grow up alongside their masters and serve as their personal gods. Most of these are children of palace slaves, and according to the law, they too are slaves. The oil millions turned into automobiles from Detroit, parking lots, and traffic cops who direct traffic straight toward the desert. We travel along the edge of the Sahara to reach the Peuls, a pastoral people once numerous and powerful, now reduced to a few thousand by mass raids of slave merchants early in this century. They no longer have any cattle of their own. The great herds they lead to pasture are owned by Arab merchants.
So this is the world we live in, y'all, in the 21st century, where children are bought for the enjoyment and servitude of other children. I mean, what kind of human being would do that to another human being? See, I hesitate to even call them human. They can't be human beings, man. We just call them human beings because they look like one. They look like human beings. But these motherfuckers are animals. They subhuman. They have no conscience, no shame. In fact, they're proud of their behavior. Now, Saudi Arabia supposedly had abolished slavery in 1962 under the pressure from American President John F. Kennedy. But as you can see, it's alive and well. Now, as I said, that video was from the 60s, but this is still going on. This is still happening today. They're buying human beings and selling them. This is going on today. Now, racism for the longest has been, and especially to build this empire that they have now in Saudi Arabia, to build all the wealth. Racism was a necessary prerequisite for the expansion of Islam through jihad. You see? So this was one of those things that in their mind was just the cost of doing business, the cost of growing our country, you know? And they're doing it all in the name of holy wars for Islam. This is what this is supposed to be about, and this is supposed to be cool in this Quran that they read. It's supposed to be cool. Slavery is supposed to be cool. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. I don't get it. I can't even see myself being brainwashed. Even if I was raised like that as a youngster, I would think that I would have a conscience and I would at some point regain control of my own mind and say, you know what, man, this ain't right. How can I have all of these other intellectual attributes? I can have this common sense in all of these other arenas. And I can say that I make so much sense and I'm decent. I'm a human being that deserves to be respected and treated as such. But then I treat another human being like this. No, man, this is animalistic behavior. This is barbaric shit. And they need to be dealt with. But where are the boycotts? Where Big Brother America at? They know it's going on. They've been knowing it was going on. They've been knowing. America knows, Europe knows, Asia knows. And it's not just happening in the Middle East, it's happening in Asia too. They got slaves in Asia, they got slaves in Africa. Hell, there's slaves right here in America, depending on where you go. And I'm not just talking metaphorically. There are literally slaves right here in America, in certain pockets of America. They're right here. It's going on. But Saudi Arabia, they're real heavy in the slave trade. And they treat black people like shit. Now keep in mind, this is where they come from. They come from Africa. That's where they come from. But they think because they got fine hair in a certain tone and they grew up in a different region that they're somehow superior, they're better. So they treat people like dirt. Saudi Arabia is one of the sickest cultures in the world. It's one of the sickest. Let's call it what, and I'm not overreacting for the bombings and things that they do, all this other stuff that they do in the name of religion or whatever. I'm basically focused on this one particular topic at this moment. All the other shit that they do, it's atrocious, but I'm focused right now on slavery. And that is some subhuman shit to call yourself purchasing another human being. And what's the going price, y'all? $200 to $500. That's what they selling human beings for. Buying and selling human beings. $200 to $500. Like, no price would be large enough. I'm just, giving you the facts. But Saudi Arabia, it's time to call Saudi Arabia and many of these other Middle Eastern countries exactly what they are. Sick. Now, and that don't exclude America, because this is a sick ass place too. But I'm just putting it in perspective. Saudi Arabia is one of the sickest fucking cultures on earth. How can you pray 5 times a day and do some shit like that? And you Americans, how can you pray at all and not be up in arms about it? Oh, I get it. You're not praying to God, you're praying to Satan. No more talk.
What the haters talking about?
Order of protection.